Hello everyone. Once upon a time, a very long time ago, there were the Void Lords who wanted to corrupt the Titans. They figured out that corrupting a grown Titan, that wasn't going to work, so instead they set their eyes on the slumbering ones, those still inside of the planets. Like the Titans, they had no idea which planets actually held a spirit inside, so they pooled their powers together and they manifested in our reality something that we know as the Old Gods. Across the universe they traveled, infecting planets as they went, sometimes even hitting those with Titans inside of them, like the planet of Azeroth. The Pantheon eventually found Azeroth corrupted, the Old Gods having the time of their lives, raging war with each other, enjoying their Black Empire, and the Titans, they decided to do something. They knew that their colossal might, it was far too great to interact directly. They feared that they might actually do more damage to the Titan, so they decided to make keepers and let them do the work for them. However, the old god Y'Shaarj, he turned out to be so powerful that despite the better judgment, the Titans interfered. Aman'Fu reached down and ripped Y'Shaarj out of the planet. Little piece of the old god, they fell back onto the world. You might remember its heart being found by Garrosh, yet its tendrils had burrowed so deep that a massive wound was left behind and Azeroth's lifeblood erupted. In that moment, the Titans realized that killing the old gods, it was not an option, so instead they decided to imprison them. K'Vuun, Yogg-Saron and N'Zoth, they were imprisoned, while the heart of Y'Shaarj was buried deep away. Order was brought to the world, and the Titans left their keepers behind. You might be familiar with certain Titan facilities, like Ulduman, Ulduar, Uldum. Apparently there's also Ul'das and Ul'Doros, but our journey today, that takes us into Uldir. Killing the old gods in that moment, it was not an option. So the Titans, they created this sprawling underground facility to research and quarantine capture specimens. They hoped that by studying the void energy that bound the old gods, probing it for weaknesses and reactions, that they could find some way to neutralize the threats, some way to cleanse the planet of its infection. They were horribly wrong. The Keeper's experimentations, it led to the creation of K'Vuun, an artificially created old god, sometimes also referred to as a blood god. It's a perfect avatar of the old god's desire for unending, ravenous need to corrupt. It is nothing but rot, pestilence and decay, the ultimate parasite who cannot stop himself from consuming his host until it is gone. Quite a big whoopsie from the Keepers, so like the beings from which it was created, K'Vuun was also locked away. 3 seals were designed to keep him there, one in Vol'dun at Atul Aman, destroyed by Mythrax the Unraveler to release its master. Mythrax, he is a K'Vrux, a being from the days of the Black Empire, but his rampage and destruction, it did not go without resistance. The Loa Sefrelis sacrificed herself to take him out, but not before it was able to break the seal, and its destruction, the destruction of the temple, it turned the land of Vol'dun into what we see it as today. The second seal, that can be found within Nazmir, Naz'Vara. Nazmir, it used to be a lush forest, but when Deathwing broke out of the world and caused a shattering around the Cataclysm time periods, something shook loose and Nazmir started sinking into the sea. That's most likely what destroyed the seal there, which means that the final one still turning, that is within the capital, the Great Seal in Dazar Alor. One of the few things still standing that is older than the Zandalari Empire, and we know that the threat and corruption of K'Vuun, that has been a problem for a very long time, since even Dazar, the very first king, he had to hold his ground against it. But in the current day and age, some way, somehow, Prophet Zul has started listening and following K'Vuun, working hard on destroying that final seal, and they do this by resurrecting Mythrax and leading a siege upon the capital. Despite King Rastakhan allying himself with the Loa Bond-Samdi and taking Zul's life, they still succeeded in destroying the final seal, which means that K'Vuun has been released. Time to rally the forces and join Princess Talanji on the Horde side after adventures in Nazmir and dealing with the blood trolls. Or, in my case, we join Bran Bronzebeard on the Alliance side after setting up our base in Nazmir during the war campaign and figuring out that our commander, she allied herself with the blood trolls and K'Vuun. Time to venture into this corrupted Titan complex and take care of business.
Initiating Plasma Collection.
Right from the start, we can see that Talok is not feeling too well after the Gob Squad blew him into the facility. He is a Titan construct created by the Keepers to keep watch over any signs of corruption in the region and to deal with them. Yet, over the thousands of years that had passed, its eternal defenses, it began to decay, which made him vulnerable to corruption. He loves smacking us around with his beastly weapon, as well as sharing the corruption that's flowing through his body. The fight continues as the elevator takes us down. Deeper we go into the complex, and with its first corrupted defense out of the way, we can ask Bran to do his favorite thing and open up the door.
Few levels
You made it! Just give me a
depleted.
second. I've
Shut
accessed
him
some sort
down.
of caretaker that I believe operates this facility. Give me a sec, I'll get these doors open. What? No, the blasted doors are sealed. Start breaking things till they open.
As always, as we party with Bran, things don't go exactly as planned, and while he tinkers away, we hold off waves of larvae, krogs, and rotten fusion Asmani until Mother is kind enough to open the door.
Virulent specimen removed. Opening decontamination chamber. I am the Matron of Tenacity, Herald of Endless Research. Designation, Mother.
She, together with Keeper Vol'dun, Keeper Hezrel, and Keeper Zek'voz, they seem to be the appointed Titan creations here to keep an eye on the place and keep it running, gifted with tenacity and an insatiable desire to discover a solution to the old gods. Her protocols have remained fully intact, even though many other systems in the facility, they've collapsed by now. During the fight, we can see just how much she loves purifying corruption, as she tests the bacterial resistance to extreme heat by setting the ground under her feet ablaze. She tries to push us into the oven, lasers designed to gather samples. Mother doesn't mess around, but we need to smack some sense into her and make her realize that we're here to help.
System restored. Levels returned to secure thresholds.
Aye, that did it. This technology isn't all that confusing, if you have a knack for it.
Facility systems compromised. Proceed with caution.
You're a sight for sore eyes. Close as I can figure, this is some sort of research facility.
Designation, Uldir. This research facility was designed to contain and study the entity known as G'huun.
Well, that explains why the blood trolls are lurking about. But why would the Titans keep an old god alive?
Collection of data is imperative to combating the old gods. G'huun's unique biology potentially holds the answer to eliminating their threat.
Did you find the answer?
Negative. Data inconclusive. Alternative research trials are being developed and are scheduled to be deployed in 2,364 cycles.
I don't think we've got that kind of time. Best get rid of G'huun before this rot gets any worse.
In order to destroy the specimen, you must reactivate the vault consoles located throughout the swing. Activating all consoles will grant access to G'huun's vault, where the specimen may be purged by activating the re-origination drive.
Sounds like a plan. While we're at it, I'll see what other secrets the Titans may have left behind.
Mother apparently has no problem with us destroying their test subjects and getting rid of their one chance to eliminate the old god threat. Her scans must have showed her that G'huun is way out of control, and the design of this place, in my opinion, it's freaking gorgeous. The Ring of Containment, that is where you will find most of the trash, like Titan constructs and the Blood Trolls. While the bosses, they give a glimpse as to what the facility's been up to over the years.
Ugh! What in blazes is that thing?
This facility has experimented on a variety of life forms to research solutions for old god corruption.
You missed one.
Not all of it is glamorous and shiny either. The desire to find a solution led them to experimenting upon several Loa who inhabited the forest around Zandalar. After the experiments proved lethal, the Loa's remains were just tossed away, disposed of improperly, much to the delight of G'huun. Lion, vulture and raptor, all combined into one, strutting its stuff like there's no tomorrow. It doesn't care that it has to stay within the gallery of failures, it will strut anyways. On the sides, occasionally waste is disposed, which leave behind dinner for the fetid devourer. Gotta clean it up before it's able to munch down, but also avoid the knockbacks and the puke. Not the most clean of fights, but that's what you get when you need to clean up Uldir's waste. Upon his defeat, Mother shows up to reactivate the console.
First console activated. Re-establishing energy matrix.
Back on the Ring of Containment. Now we also have to face faceless devourers and coagulated blood as we make our way into the Plague Vault.
Now entering the viral ecology ring. This laboratory contains thousands of the most dangerous viral strains in the known cosmos, alphabetically sorted for ease of access. Alert. Viral containment breached. Contaminated specimen approaching. Risk of infection imminent.
In Zandalar's history, thousands of years ago, there's a tale of a foolish troll who tried to summon Hakar the Soul Flayer to the island. This caused a plague to tear through the Empire, killing thousands of trolls and began one of the most terrifying periods in Zandalar's history. Eventually, they were able to get past it, but there were those who clung to the magics of Akar, which led to the foundation of the Blood Trolls, and, as we can see now, they used their powers in service of G'huun. From the strains of the disease that took so many, Uldir did its thing and researched it for a cure. They found that only isolation and extermination were effective, but as the safeguards started to fall, the plague was accidentally combined with a sample of G'huun's blood, which then created a whole new entity that hungers for fresh victims. That entity is known as Vectis, and we have to exterminate it.
Outbreak inevitable!
Console activated. Facility safeguards rebooting.
Back onto the Ring of Containment, this time towards the Archives of Eternity.
Now entering the data vaults. This is a comprehensive collection of Titan knowledge. These disks currently contain 50 norgabytes of biological data on known life forms throughout the cosmos. 75 norgabytes of every existing chemical compound. And 950 billion norgabytes of musical playlists and self-portrait images.
A blast from the past, as within the archives, we encounter enemies and abilities connected to the Old Gods, connected to G'huun and Yogg-Saron, with the Karaji, Silphid and Arubian minions.
Lesser creatures must serve or die.
Zek'voz, the Herald of the South. He thought that he was ready to spread his master's dark words on the shores of Zandalar shortly after the Sun Ring, after the Well of Eternity imploded and the land of Kalimdor split apart. He was good to go, prepared to entice, bribe, cajole, corrupt or simply kill the newly isolated tribe into the service of N'Zoth. What he wasn't ready for though, that was the defenses of Uldir. He was captured by them, studied, disassembled and stored within the Titan's archive, where he has waited for the chance to escape and now must deal with us. In the background, you actually see the image of G'huun and Yogg-Saron pop up, and a really cool achievement is attached to this fight. With archaeology, you can get the puzzle box of Yogg-Saron. If you use it during the Yogg-Saron phase, it makes it spawn it on the field, and then shoot out void barrages, and let me just tell you, this is really confusing to your raid when you don't tell them that you're going to use it. It might even lead to a wipe. Now, I wouldn't know anything about this, of course. It just might, just saying, really, really fun.
I've heard stories about the power in the Zoth's minions, but I never thought I'd see one. Honestly, I hope I never do again.
Re-origination drive restored. Vault access granted.
The good old bridge cutscene, which leads us to the middle of the facility and the pathway to G'huun. After clearing out all the blood trolls that are worshipping the thing that's inside the blood orb globule thing, we discover that Zul has returned.
I recognize the ugly on that troll. What is Zul up to?
Analysis indicates high levels of corruption. Hypothesis. G'huun reanimated this specimen and enhanced it. Further testing required.
Ugh, so he's a reanimated corpse? Let's put him back in the ground.
I really wonder if they have a short story or something else planned, since I don't believe that they explained how and when Zul got in contact with G'huun and Azshara, how he ended up in exile and together again with Princess Talungi. I really wonder if we're actually going to see those details. All the same, the Dark Prophet that fell from a very great height into the flames, some way, somehow, he's been brought back by G'huun. He does not stand alone either, as powerful blood trolls, minions of Zul, and bloodthirsty Krogs, they join him in battle. His master G'huun empowers him, but the Prophet, he did not foresee his own fate. Or was he ever a prophet at all, considering that upon his death he says,
Wait!
Significant threat of contamination
This was not
beyond
the
this
future.
point.
I was
Quarantine protocols prevent me from proceeding.
Could perhaps G'huun be the reason why I was able to predict the future at all? Questions for another time, since the pathway to G'huun is now open. Now at this point, you might think to yourself like, oh yeah, there's a Titan console. If I click on that, some sexy lore is coming up, in which we then hear them talk to Bram Bronson, but no. That's not what happens here at all, as interact with the console that opens up the trapdoor and it instantly murders your entire raid. You know, that's just relaxing and checking out the loot. Three, two, one. Again, not like I would know or anything, but down below, deeper still into the complex, we find Mythrax the Unraveler. His mission of releasing G'huun, it finally succeeded, and upon completing his task, he returned here to his master's side to await further instructions. Now timelines are a little bit difficult to put down, as the time in game, it does not correlate with having to wait for Uldir to open up. It's possible that lore-wise, the moment that the final seal was broken, we instantly rallied our troops and we ventured into Uldir. That might explain why we don't actually see any effects from G'huun breaking out. I do wonder why they didn't add a little introduction questline to get into Uldir. Just Bran or Talungi letting us know like, hey, stuff's going down in Uldir, you wanna come hang out and take care of it? Just a little something to get us into the raid, but I didn't see anything like that. All the same though, Mythrax stands in our way, and he's not afraid to use the obliteration beam that was so powerful enough to destroy the final seal. He also very much likes to imprison his foes, which you need to knock them out of. And keep an eye on your debuff, make sure to use the little orbs on the field properly and on time.
3, 2, 1.
You cannot resist my call.
Naraki Destroyers show up now to aid him in the battle, and even our own Visions of Madness to deal some mighty damage to the raid, but the Slayer of Sephrellis goes down.
The re-origination drive is primed. Let's light it up and pop G'huun like the pus-filled boil he is.
The seals are broken. The end is here. Come and be the first to receive my gift. You will carry my pestilence, and a vast, bubbling, putrid cyst will cover the world.
Within the festering core, G'huun's voice echoes off the wall. No sign of the accidentally created old god quite yet, just his corruption, but we can change that by using the Titan facility to our advantage. All we have to do is throw orbs to our team members that slam dunk them into the machine, which then powers up the reorigination device and forces the creature to show itself.
Beware.
Reorigination blast imminent. Please clear the area.
You cannot escape infection.
What a beauty. And now the real fight can begin. Of course, as the theme of Uldir is corruption, he loves to spread it in many different ways. Sometimes you want to run out of the raid and drop it in a private corner. Sometimes you want to stack up and get rid of your stacks by pooling it into a gibbering horror, but don't let it consume your body or mind. Slowly but surely, the field is going to fill up. Nowhere left to stand or run. But again, the clever designs of the Titans, they give us the edge that we need. The edge that we need to continue the fight. Rocks will fall from the ceiling. Just gazing upon G'huun fills us with fear. But by working together, we're able to cleanse Uldir.
The contagion has taken root within you.
And that is the story of Uldir, with no real quest or story to wrap things up. We kill G'huun, and that's just that. I know some of you have been disappointed about not seeing an end cinematic, but to be fair, the first raid, it usually doesn't get one. I would have loved to see just a little bit of end RP though, just to wrap things up, but perhaps that's something we can expect from Mythic only, or something that still needs to unlock. Just a heads up, if you're planning to do Mythic, or you just don't want anything spoiled, and you don't care to see a wrap-up cinematic, spoilers ahead, and let me just say thank you very much for watching so far.
Show him, leader of Zandalar. Show the blade to those that need to see it the most. Give them peace.
This was not my achievement.
You brought the champion to these shores against your father's will. You learned the secrets of Ga'Hoon when no one be listening. You set in motion what be needed to save your people. Now more than ever, they be calling for a leader they can love and trust. Show them the blade. Become the symbol they need.
Behold the blood of Ga'Hoon. By his will were born the deaths of Shadra, Hyrik, Toga, and Rezan. By his will were born the deaths of so many of our brothers and sisters. Let this glaive be displayed as a reminder that no matter how far we fall, no matter how much we lose, we are Zandalari. We adapt. We find a way to survive. If it were not for this hero of the Horde, our losses would have been far worse. This proves, more than ever, that it is time for us to adapt. To become part of the world again. Zandala forever!
I really wonder when and how that cutscene is going to be implemented. It seems to be connected to picking up Vol'dun's glaive, so connected to the reputation with the Zandalari Empire. But at the same time, I imagine that there are those out there that are exalted with the Zandalari Empire, and they already done Uldir. So if that cutscene hasn't triggered for them yet, then what exactly is going to make this cutscene happen? Perhaps it really is just a mythic-only questline, like the Blood of Ga'Hoon or something, but that would be a weird decision, at least in my opinion. All the same, that does wrap up the story of Uldir. So thank you very much for watching, everyone. Subscribe if you like my videos, leave a like if you enjoyed this one, and until next time, guys, see ya!